It is clearly now the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party that there should be a new leader of that party and therefore a new Prime Minister.
Embattled UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced on July 7th that he would resign. The decision capped 3 years in power as the country grappled with the aftermath of Brexit and the COVID-19 pandemic, as Johnson weathered a series of scandals that ultimately led to his downfall.
You have sat there too long for all the good you have done. In the name of God, go.
Less than 3 years ago, Johnson led the Conservatives to their biggest election victory since 1987, a commanding majority in Parliament, but he never returned to those heights. During the pandemic, Johnson became associated with Partygate, a growing tally of government officials, including the Prime Minister, who flouted lockdown rules. In January of this year, Johnson was forced to issue a fresh apology in Parliament, following the release of the initial findings of the Grey Report, which outlined repeated lockdown violations.
Firstly, I want to say sorry. And I'm sorry for the things we simply didn't get right, and also sorry for the way that this matter has been handled.
In April this year, Johnson was fined by the Metropolitan Police for breaking lockdown rules after attending a gathering on his birthday in June 2020.
I can confirm that the Met is now investigating a number of events that took place at Downing Street and Whitehall in the last 2 years.
The release of the full Grey Report in May was accompanied by pictures of Johnson at Downing Street gatherings. Johnson said he took full responsibility for breaches of COVID restrictions.
I want to begin today by renewing my apology to the House, to the whole country, for the short lunchtime gathering on the 19th of June 2020 in the Cabinet Room, during which I stood at my place at the Cabinet table and for which I received a fixed penalty notice.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February provided Johnson an opportunity to shift focus from mounting scandals. Britain has provided Kyiv with vital anti-tank weapons to be used against Russian forces and promised billions of pounds in military aid. In April, Johnson visited Kyiv, meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He returned in June. But meanwhile, a scandal was brewing domestically, one that would ultimately set in motion the Prime Minister's downfall. This month, Johnson loyalist Chris Pincher resigned his position as Tory Deputy Chief Whip, following accusations that he groped several men. After it emerged that Johnson had ignored previous complaints against Pincher, the Prime Minister was confronted with a raft of cabinet resignations.
But frankly, Mr. Speaker, the job of a Prime Minister in difficult circumstances when he's been handed a colossal mandate is to keep going, and that's what I'm going to do.
Among those who stepped down were Rishi Sunak, Chancellor of the Exchequer, and Sajid Javid, the country's Health Secretary.
The problem starts at the top. That is not going to change.
In all, more than 50 ministers and senior aides stepped down in the span of 36 hours. Initially defiant, the tsunami of resignations forced Johnson's hand, but the Prime Minister remained unapologetic.
So I want to say to the millions of people who voted for us in 2019, many of them voting Conservative for the first time, thank you for that incredible mandate, the biggest share of the vote since 1979.
British voters do not have a clear idea who their next Prime Minister will be. Johnson has said he will remain in office until a new successor is named. At least 11 candidates have announced their intention to run for leader, including Sunak, Javid and current Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, though none have emerged as a clear front-runner. A timetable for the Tory leadership race is due to be confirmed in the coming days, and the new Prime Minister is expected to be in position by September. Whoever succeeds Johnson will inherit resurgent COVID cases, the war in Ukraine, along with heavy inflation and a burgeoning cost of living crisis.
Bye, Boris, Boris, goodbye. Bye, Boris, Boris, goodbye.